We're using a fawn ball, which works really well early season. It calls these does right straight to you. You see her and her fawn run off. We're just messing with them. There she goes.
That buck was just coming right down there, right along there, and he got right there, and I shot him. I didn't have time to get the camcorder on him. I hit this deer far back.
Right there.
Yesterday, and it poured down rain last night, and there was absolutely no blood. What'd you do?
You know, I told you, I said the sign says that it went left, but I want to go right. And I just kept going right. So I come all the way down through yonder, I got down here and I smelt the deer.
He's a good 8-point. I thought he.
It looks pretty good.
I thought he was an 8-point, but I didn't want to say for sure because I was too busy trying to get a shot off. He come in so fast on me.
Not too bad.
I've learned to always take that bow. It is a little bit difficult to walk and film and sneak with a bow mounted camera all at the same time. I'm not that coordinated. I don't have a cameraman, so I have to apologize for the shaky footage.
That deer's going down right there. That's pretty cool. Oh, I slipped up on her. She never knew I was here. You think the turtle's blood trail on a deer?
I think there's the blood right there.
Yeah, he may be.
He's right on top of it.
He's hunting a deer to eat.
It's pretty cool when your friend drags your deer out for you. This is part 2 of the hunting trip with Jesse Richardson on his family's farm, and I'm set up in the corner where I'd scouted the first day between a CRP field / clear cut strip of woods, and on the opposite side's another clear cut. A lot of deer travel in between these two clear cuts, and these two outside corners meet. Makes for good deer travel corridor. After working this buck scrape the first and second day, and that morning I had kind of got him fired up a little bit, confused, because it's early season and they're not in the rut, but a good 2.5-year-old buck is not smart enough to figure that out, and he's still gonna take a chance, I guess.
We've been hunting Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and today's Saturday. I come in here Wednesday, and I noticed there was some good old rub lines in here from last year, and I had stalked up on a doe in here, and I worked his scrape a little bit, and yesterday, and I come back in here today and I worked it again this morning. He was chasing a doe in here and grunting like crazy, and I managed to grunt the doe over to me, and he followed, and I probably had maybe a 15-yard shot on him. Real tickled with this buck. And Jess was over in there, Put them on this little ridge here. Look how thick it is in here. Beautiful ridge. Got an acorn tree right there. That's my marker tree. Look at my man Jess. Smile for the camera, Jess.
Broke the ice finally, I got one.
Boy, he made a killer shot on it too. Look at this shot.
She went straight
Awesome.
down. Happy to have one under my belt now.
Alright. We got to drag her out of here. We're going to head on to the house. It's pouring down, raining.
Don's first kill, so let's see if he'll drag mine.
Oh yeah.
They don't get much bigger than that. Trophy whitetail. Eyelashes. She was such a good little girl. Then bam! Sit looking. Missed one early in the morning. One ran right up on my stand. I wasn't ready to shoot yet. About 45 minutes, an hour and 45 minutes later, this little girl walked up. Came up from the back side of me, and I took a shot through a little patch of bushes. Got a clear shot through and hit her right in the spine and put her down. She didn't turn the lights off in about 15-20 seconds.
I'm set up on a road crossing. Very simple, basic hunt. You walk up and down a log road until you find where all the deer trails cross, and you basically set up on the downwind side and wait for them to cross. Gives you a good shooting lane when they step into the road. Not a whole lot of thought takes place in a setup like this, but it works. Give it a try. This doe right here started to shoot, but I had a lot of other deer coming in behind her. I thought, well, wonder which one's the biggest, and I wanted to see. It's pretty thick in there, so I'm having to wait till they get up there close to the road before I can even see them. This just a train of does coming through. I drew my bow back thinking I might shoot this deer right here. And when she stepped out, got a little better look at her, I thought, yeah, she's pretty small compared to the other two does. Maybe I'll shoot one of them. So I'm just sitting here going back and forth in my mind, just trying to decide. That deer in the front, she kind of smelt where my scent was. I think that pretty much turned on my predator instinct. So I decided right then that's the one I wanted to shoot. That doe right there, she went down fast. So fast, in fact, the other deer didn't even know what happened. You can hear the one deer stomping its foot, looking around, trying to figure out, what are you laying on the ground for? Get up. I love a hunt where I ain't got to track them. It's an early season hunt, Oak Muggy Management Area. I had all these does coming in from the edge of a sure enough thick, nasty swamp bottom. Some of them are coming off the top of the hill from the pine thicket. Some of them are coming up out of the bottom from across that swamp thicket. But I mean, I had deer coming from everywhere to hit this acre flat early season. Mostly does and fawns coming in, playing, running around. I quit trying to even grunt at one of them because they were just pretty much covering the whole hillside. Probably had a dozen deer in there. got several video clips of them. Some of it was so long and boring I just cut it out. And right at dark, I finally had a big old doe come squeezing in there. Got that shot. She went off down in that swamp bottom and crashed. And after it was really too dark to even try to shoot, although it's legal to kill a buck and a doe per day, I decided to pass on this young buck. I didn't really feel like I had good video light. Legally, it's borderline as to whether or not I should be shooting or not. So I let him walk. Matthew helped me find my deer.
I found it.
Found it. We got. I know. I didn't get the shot on film. Some dummy didn't hit the record button again. If you listen close, he'll tell you what happened.
I come in here yesterday evening. I'm in a select cut pine area that they just got through cutting this year. And there's like a runway right here where my tree stand is. And deer been walking up and down this runway. You can tell by the tracks. And 4 does come just running, barreling off the hill in front of me. And they crossed right here under my stand. The doe, when I shot her, was about 5 yards over behind my camera sitting on my tree stand. I'm using it for a tripod, so you're looking at the view from my tree stand right here. I made a good shot on the deer. I was trying to hit her spine and go right between her shoulder blades. The arrow, it hit right dead between her shoulder blade, but I missed the spine and it come out right here on the bottom. So good hunting. My first deer of the season.
After getting in my stand, I heard 2 bucks fighting in the distance, which I also thought was odd since it's in October. Later this doe slipped in, and I'm really thinking about shooting this deer. As much as I want to shoot this doe, those 2 bucks are in the back of my mind right now. They were either all out fighting or very intensely sparring, and I know that they're close. But I really would like to have some meat in the freezer, and this doe's just going to give me the perfect shot opportunity. So what does a man do? You can hear me almost wanting to pull that bow back. Such indecisiveness. Alright. Am I going to take the shot? Right there it is. The only thing saving her is the thought of those 2 bucks being close by. Later I had a few more deer slipping by. They all seem to be going to the same little pine thicket. For these deer to be grunting and chasing does and fighting in October is just blowing my mind. I've never seen this before in Alabama. She really don't know what I am, but she don't like it. If you ever tried doing a self-filmed spot and stalk hunt with a bow and arrow on the ground, it ain't easy. A little advice: you need to be much more coordinated than I am and be able to multitask. A lot of thoughts going in my head right now. For the record, this is in Alabama, on public hunting land, in October, and these deer just about act like they're in the rut, which doesn't surprise me because, as I said before, this is Alabama. I believe if anyone out there can truly break down the rut in Alabama and have all the dates figured out from one year to the next and all these locations, they're a genius. Because, buddy, I flat can't do it. Just when I think I got them figured out, these deer prove me wrong. Do something crazy like this. I mean, this doe is being chased by bucks. You can just tell by the demeanor and the way she's acting. She's nervous and looking for those bucks that are chasing her. She may not be in heat, but those dadgum bucks think she is, or they want her to be. At any rate, it's a pretty exciting hunt right here, being on the ground in amongst all this activity. Never gets old. There's one of the little bucks that's chasing. Looks like a spike. I pretty much been with these deer all afternoon, slipping around, making little circles around them. Finally, right at last light, it looks like I might get a shot on one. Camera just loses too much light.
I don't know if you can see that on video or not. I'm last light. She's sniffing right in there where I walked. An hour ago, she was standing over stomping her feet. And finally she come over here, and I was able to get a shot. And I heard a crash right over there. Well, there she is. Got a big old doe.
My son and I are set up not too far from the road, as you can tell from listening to all the traffic behind us. This doe's feeding on acorns, and I'm about to draw my bow back right here. How is it a deer always know to take a step and block their vitals when you're about to shoot. Is it Murphy's Law? Deer just lucky? Guess I'll ease my bow back down, wait for a better shot. Lucky for me, the traffic's blocking all the noise that I might make doing all this. Let's try it again. I think she's gonna give me a shot here. Oh, she's going down. She's falling right there. She's history. If you're wondering what's going on, I've got another deer over here. I'm going to try to get 2 deer if I can. By the way, it is legal here in Alabama to do that, where I'm at this moment. It looks like this deer is going to be about like the other deer. Hard to find an opening to get a shot on. I really didn't set up for this. My son's supposed to be in the better tree, and I'm set up really to film him, but all the deer came under my tree. That's the way it is sometimes. And that would be deer number 2. Made a really good shot on her as well.
I know my son's not going to be too tickled with me. He's sitting about 50 yards over to the right of me. We're just right off the edge of the highway. Just killed 2 deer. Made good shots on both of them. Happens to be an acorn tree right here in front of me. They're feeding on pretty heavy. The first doe went down, probably died within view of him, and the second doe went over to the left, and I heard her crash over there. So good hunt. I was hoping he'd get one, but it's getting pretty late, and we're probably going to go ahead and get down and get these 2 deer and get out of here.
It wasn't long after I got up in my tree this doe shows up. I figure she probably heard me coming into the woods, getting settled in that tree, just by the way she's acting. She's stomping her foot, looking around real curious, trying to figure out what it is that she heard. Now whether she ever spots me or not is irrelevant, because she's nervous and trying to figure out what it is. She knows there's something wrong. She's just not sure. And her activity is being watched by other deer. If there's a bigger buck in the area, he's paying attention to this, so there's a good chance that he won't show up just because of this doe's activity. But this other doe come trotting through here like maybe something was getting after her. So I was starting to second guess myself, maybe there is a big buck in the area. Just run this doe out of the bed area, and who knows, I might just get lucky, because this kind of activity gets me excited. Picked up some acorns, she's chewing on it and spitting the hulls out, looking for more. Since she's in the area anyway where the tree's dropping acorns, she may as well get a bite, right? And I guess she's fixing to circle back down around the bed area and head in. She's starting to get on the downwind side where I'm at. But I still think I got good wind direction. I hear another deer coming. I'm thinking, oh, no, it's the little one. That's not good. Notice how they both stop right here before they get to that log. Then they step over it. Real nice and easy. If you're ever on a trail like that where deer come around the edge of a hillside, you got a log like that right in the trail, that's a good place to set up, because those deer really have a strong tendency to step over a log rather than jump. I reckon that doe's up there still getting aggravated. She's just, boy, gonna be a pain in my butt, snorting like crazy. She better not give me an opportunity to shoot her, because I'm about tired of her.
I got busted both times. Not really sure why. The only thing I can come up with is the wind shifted. I can hear those deer eating up there on them acorns about 40 yards from me. I hear an acorn pop every now and then. I'm gonna have to come down out of this tree and get on to the house.
In this video, I'm hunting meat. Put something in the freezer. Got one coming in the side pretty quick. Fixing to make a draw and shoot. That's why it's so crazy with the film footage.
I tried to get to a spot I scouted out last year. I couldn't find the spot. Everything changed. So I just walked and found me a spot scouting in here. I didn't get in my tree stand until about 7:15, maybe 7:20. And at 7:32 I shot a deer. I was literally watching, or two deer were watching me as I climbed the tree. They ran off and snorted. I snorted back at them. And the next thing I know, I've got deer coming up from the other side, running up to me. So I had 3 deer on one side, 2 deer on the other side. There's my deer. I can see blood on my arrow from the tree stand. I see blood on the ground, so I know I got her, heard her crash. The other 2 deer are still down there milling around. So I'm gonna sit here for another hour and see what happens. Well, I ain't lying. This thing weighs 7,000 pounds going up this hill. On this morning setup, you can see these are pretty much wide open pines. You say, well, why would you hunt these wide open pines? Well, I'm right on the edge of a cutover. And these deer walk this edge, and there's a trail coming out right here in front of me, a little to my left and right, from both directions. And this is a high knob overlooking these wide open pines. Deer bed on this little knob, the wind to their back, so they can see a long ways. If they're bedded here, you cannot sneak up on them. Right here behind me, as you can see, there's a little bit of thick, high grass. If they decide to run downhill, they can run into that thick matted grass and hide up. And it goes all the way across the holler to the other side. and it's thick on the other side. I expect to see does in here, possibly a buck, maybe. I already jumped a bunch of does out of here getting in here, so if you want to call this a bump and dump, well then that's what this is, a bump and dump. Because if they come back, I'm going to dump one.
I hadn't been here very long at all, and I actually spotted this little buck right here. Just about an hour maybe went by, hour and a half tops. I don't really know, I didn't keep time, but these does started filtering their way back my direction. So things are looking up. By the way, this is the very first time that I've ever hunted here. Scattered my way in, bumped these deer, it looked good, so I set up on it. The wind is just perfect for me right now. These does are going to come around through here, do their little half circle, come up here, and I already know at this point that I'm probably going to get a shot on one of these does. Getting pretty excited. Sitting in the pine tree the way I am, I'm just going to have to be really, really still. Not make any sudden movements, because boy, these jokers can pick you out of a pine tree in a heartbeat. These does are really wanting to get back to their bed area, but they're not in too big a hurry. They're going to mill around a little bit, possibly browse some, but rest assured they're coming. I'm really going to try to put my focus on this lead doe right here. Don't know why I always want to try to pick out the lead doe. Not sure it really makes any difference, but for some reason or other, that's the one I always try to target. She's probably about 10 or 15 steps from the tree right here. Got to be straight down, kind of a tight shot. Notice where they run too, right into that thick patch on the other side. I'm set up on a hot acorn tree for an afternoon hunt on opening day. This morning my son was sitting just about 70 yards from here in his favorite spot. He said he could hear acorns falling out of this tree and deer going to it. So he said, "Daddy, you need to get over there and hunt that acorn tree. Maybe you'll kill a deer." So guess what? That's all I needed to hear. Acorns falling, deer activity. Let's go kill a deer. Now that deer dropped pretty fast, and these other two deer don't know what happened. They're a little bit confused, stomping their foot, real nervous. They're gonna lick their nose, sniff the air, stay here for a pretty long time actually. So I'm gonna try to settle them down, give them a few grunts, see if I can't actually coax them back over to the tree. Maybe I'll get another shot at one. That's me using my voice. Try not to grunt too loud. I always try to start out real soft grunts, not very loud, to see what the deer can actually hear. You can hear that background noise, that ventilation fan from the mines. So a lot of times you don't really know what the deer can actually hear, but you can see their reaction, and you can always tell if they heard you or not if you pay attention to the deer. At this point it looks like the deer is looking up in the tree at me. Maybe it spotted me. Not really sure if it saw anything or if it's just throwing its nose up in the air. Just going to keep messing with this deer and see what happens. Confuse it, maybe calm it down, or get it to come over to me. One of the three usually happens. It never fails when they snort. I flinch. Deer gonna ease up this little ridge right here, try to get high ground. I'm fixing to take a shot. I got one little opening there, and I got the right angle on it. I believe I can squeeze the arrow through there. Or you could hear the arrow hit that deer and make that pop sound. I love it.
There's the blood. This right here is deer number 1. I made a good hit on the deer. She ran about 60 yards. Deer number 2 is just about 60 yards from here. Good hunt. I just killed me a deer. I was just fixing to call my son, see if he'd saw anything. She's bleeding out right up there. I can hear her. There's last blood right there. I couldn't find my arrow nowhere. I told you it was a hard quartering away shot. That's a good shot right there. I heard her die, and there's another deer with her, and I thought I was going to get a second shot on the other deer, so I kept just hanging out, grunting, waiting on her to come back. She never would come back. She come up here and kind of sniffed around on this deer. So I knew where she was at. Good deal. This is the last day of our hunt. This morning I got up in my stand. I sat there, didn't like it. Sat there till 7 o'clock. Got down, did some scouting, and found a pretty good hot acorn tree that's dropping. So I'm going to sit on it the rest of the morning and see what happens. I got a lot of confidence in this spot. It's thick, close by, a lot thicker woods. Bedding habitat pretty close. Getting out of them pretty woods.
What I got here is a mountain oak acorn tree dropping. They make a lot louder sound than a normal white oak acorn tree, and the deer are pretty much picking them up as soon as they hit the ground. So it's a good setup right here. It wasn't very long after that little buck left, I had a mama doe and a spotted fawn come in underneath the tree, started feeding on acorns. I thought, alright, I'm in a good spot now. It's about time. I've scouted my tail off trying to find just the right spot. While I'm watching this mama and her spotted fawn feeding on acorns, I hear grunt sounds coming up behind me and footsteps real quick. Before I know it, I got a buck right dead under my tree. And this one bushy tree, it seems like every deer come right under this thing. And the perfect tree is a little bit to the right of where I'm sitting. Of course, hindsight's 20/20, I know that now, but next time if I ever hunted this spot right here with acorns falling, I know which tree to get in, but odds are I'll probably never hunt this spot again. But a little further down is where all these trails pinch together, and it should be good in November regardless. If there's still acorns falling in November on this one spot, I definitely will come in here and check it out. But this buck's a young buck, and I really looked him over good. I thought, well, if you were in Alabama on public land, I'd probably let the air out of you, but you can see the spotted fawn right there in the top of the frame. They're all feeding together right now. But he was just a little on the young side, and Kentucky's got a lot bigger bucks, more mature bucks than this right here. I'm assuming this is probably a 2.5-year-old deer. He's got good mass, good beam length. He's just an 8-point. Inside the ears are about even with the ears at best. So still a pretty cool encounter having this buck coming in.